Elena, a trucker with 12 years hauling freight across the Southwest, from the dusty trails of Texas to the red rock canyons of Arizona. The road's my haven, open skies, the hum of my rig, and the kind of quiet that lets you forget the world. I've heard the stories at truck stops, ghostly hitchhikers, lights that follow you, whispers on the wind. I always brush them off with a laugh. I'm a practical woman. Check the load, hit the deadline, get paid. But last summer, on a lonely stretch of Route 93 near Wickenburg, Arizona, I saw something that changed everything. They call him the Phantom Cowboy, and he's still out there, waving from the dark. It was just past midnight, and I was hauling a load of produce from Phoenix to Las Vegas on US Route 93, a desolate ribbon cutting through the desert. The night was warm, the air heavy with the scent of creosote and dust, the stars sharp overhead. My headlights sliced through the blackness, catching cacti and the occasional tumbleweed rolling across the road. My CB was off, the radio playing soft mariachi, when I saw him, a man on the shoulder, tall and lean, wearing a cowboy hat, his hand raised, waving slow and deliberate, like he needed a ride. Who was out here in the middle of nowhere, and why was he waving? I slowed, my heart ticking faster. Company rules were strict. No hitchhikers, no stops unless it's an emergency. But he looked real, solid in my high beams. Denim jacket, boots, the brim of his hat shadowing his face. I figured he was stranded, maybe a rancher with a broken truck. I eased closer, ready to call out, but as my rig reached the spot, he was gone. No trace, no shadow, just empty road and desert stretching into the dark. My headlights swept the shoulder. Nothing, not even footprints in the dust. I told myself it was a mirage, heat playing tricks on tired eyes. But the air in the cab turned cold, like I'd opened a freezer, and a smell crept in. Leather and smoke, like an old saddle left by a campfire. My CB crackled, though I hadn't touched it. A voice, low, rough, with a western drawl whispered, "Elena, take me down the road." My name. My hands shook on the wheel. I yanked the plug, but the voice kept going, circling the cab. Down the road. I checked the passenger seat. Empty, just my thermos and a crumpled map. But in the side mirror, I saw it. A shadow in the sleeper. Tall, hat tilted low. Gone when I turned. How did he know my name, and what was in my cab? I floored it, the rig roaring through the desert, the empty road blurring past. My cab camera's red light blinked, recording the night. The voice came again, fainter but insistent. "Elena, don't leave me." I glanced at the mirror, and my blood froze. Scratch marks, jagged thin, like fingers clawing through dust, etched the frosted glass, fresh and deep, glinting in the starlight. I hadn't stopped, hadn't touched the mirror. But there they were, like someone had tried to hold on. I'd heard whispers about Route 93, stories swapped at diners about a cowboy who died in a truck crash in the 80s, back when the road was narrower, deadlier. Locals near Wickenburg said he still walked the highway, waving at drivers, hitching rides that never ended. They called him the Phantom Cowboy, a rancher turned trucker killed in a fiery wreck, his rig smashed against a canyon wall. Some said he was looking for his last delivery, others that he just wanted company on the lonely road. Was that him I saw? And why was he calling me? I didn't stop until I hit a truck stop outside Kingman, its lot packed with rigs, the diner's neon sign glowing like a lifeline. I stumbled inside, the smell of coffee and fry grease cutting through the leather and smoke scent still clinging to me. The waitress, a woman with a name tag reading Lila, poured me a cup and eyed my face. "You look like you've seen a ghost," she said, her voice soft but sharp. "You ever hear about a cowboy on Route 93? I asked, my voice low. "Near Wickenburg, waving at trucks?" Her hand froze on the coffee pot. "The Phantom Cowboy," she whispered. "You saw him, didn't you?" She slid a napkin across the counter. A single word scrawled in pen. "Don't." She walked away, her eyes avoiding mine, like she was afraid to stay near me. What did Lila know, and why was she scared to talk? I checked my cab camera footage the next day, needing proof I wasn't losing my mind. The video showed the road, the empty shoulder where I'd seen him, but no cowboy, no hat, no wave, just desert and darkness. Then at 12:07 a.m., a flicker. The passenger seat, empty. But a shadow appeared, tall, hat low, for a split second, gone in the next frame. The audio caught it. "Elena, take me down the road." My hand shook as I rewound, watched again. The scratch marks on the mirror were there, caught in the side camera's glare, deeper now, like a plea carved in glass. I sent the footage to my boss, expecting a laugh or a warning about long hours. He didn't reply, just called and told me to take a few days off, no questions asked. That wasn't normal. Bosses want logs, explanations. A week later, I was at a bar in Wickenburg, swapping stories with other drivers. I mentioned the cowboy, the voice, the scratches. Most laughed, called it a desert tale, but an old-timer, his face like weathered leather, didn't. "You saw the Phantom Cowboy," he said. "He's been on 93 since the 80s. "What do you know about him?" I asked, my throat tight. He leaned in, eyes dark. "Back in 83, a trucker, former rancher, crashed his rig on 93, near Wickenburg. Burned alive, they say, trapped in the cab. Since then, drivers see him, waving, asking for a ride. Always at night, always gone when you reach him. Some say he's looking for his last load, a delivery he never made. Others say he's bound to the road, needing someone to take him where he's going. He leaves marks, calls your name. If you stop, he gets closer." "What does he want?" I said, my voice shaking. He didn't answer, just pointed to a photo on the wall. A faded shot of Route 93, dated 1984. In the corner, barely visible, was a figure, tall, in a cowboy hat, standing on the shoulder, his eyes glowing white. On the ground beside him, a black leather glove, crusted with frost, though it was summer in the desert. Was he just a lost soul, or something the desert wouldn't let go? I don't drive Route 93 anymore, not near Wickenburg, not at night. I take longer routes, burn more fuel, anything to avoid that stretch. But he follows me. At night, when I'm parked, I smell it. Leather and smoke, sharp and heavy, seeping into the cab. I hear the CB crackle, though it's unplugged, his voice drawling. "Elena, take me down the road." Last week I found something under my bunk, a black leather glove, stiff with frost, though it was 90 degrees outside. I burned it in a fire pit, watched it curl and blacken, but the smell didn't go away. Last night I was parked in Nevada, miles from Arizona. The CB crackled and his voice came through, clearer, closer. "Elena, I'm waiting." I checked the camera feed, my heart pounding, and there he was. The passenger seat, empty, but a shadow flickered, hat low, eyes glowing white. In the mirror, I saw them. Scratch marks, deeper now, etched into the glass like a summons. Outside, in the dark, I heard it. A soft whistle, like a cowboy calling his horse, coming from nowhere. I don't know what the Phantom Cowboy is. A ghost, a memory, or something the desert keeps alive. I don't know why he chose me, or where he wants to go. But I know he's out there, on Route 93, waving from the shoulder, watching. And I know, if I ever drive that stretch at night again, he'll climb in. And this time, he might not vanish. Will I ever escape the Phantom Cowboy of Route 93? If this story gave you chills, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You never know what's coming next. I'm Mike, a long-haul trucker with 20 years of dust and diesel behind me. crisscrossing the old roads from Chicago to LA on what's left of Route 66. The Mother Road, they call it, full of history, diners, and stories that keep you company on those lonely nights. I've heard plenty. Vanishing hitchhikers, haunted motels, lights in the sky over Roswell. I always took them with a grain of salt, figuring they were just ways to pass the time at truck stops. I'm a practical man. Check the load, watch the gauges, get to the next drop. But last April, on a desolate patch of Route 66 near Cuervo, New Mexico, I saw something that made me a believer. They call it the Phantom Convoy, and it's been tailing me ever since. The sun was dipping low as I left Santa Rosa, the sky turning that bruised purple over the high desert. I was hauling a load of auto parts from Amarillo to Albuquerque, sticking to the old alignment of Route 66 for the scenery, and to avoid the semis crowding I-40. Cuervo was coming up, a ghost town, abandoned since the interstate bypassed it in the 70s, just crumbling buildings and empty streets baking under the sun. The air was dry, carrying the scent of sage and distant rain, the kind that never quite falls. My CB was tuned to Channel 19, but it was quiet, no chatter from other drivers. The radio played faint country, but I switched it off, preferring the rumble of my engine and the wind rushing past. As twilight faded to full dark, the road narrowed, the pavement cracked and patched, flanked by scrub and the ruins of Cuervo off to the side. The town looked eerie in my headlights. Old gas station with a rusted pump, a church with a tilted cross, houses sagging like they were tired of standing. I'd driven this way before, knew the history. Cuervo, born with the railroad in 1901, thrived as a Route 66 stop for ranchers and travelers, then died when I-40 came through. But tonight, the silence felt heavier, the shadows longer, like the desert was holding its breath. Why did the ruins feel like they were watching me? I glanced in the rearview mirror, adjusting for the glare of my taillights, and that's when I saw them. At first it was just a pair of headlights, far back, but steady, keeping pace. Then more, 4, 6, a whole line of them, moving in unison. A convoy. I figured it was military, maybe from White Sands or Kirtland, running drills. But as they got closer, my beams caught the lead vehicle in the mirror, an old deuce-and-a-half olive drab, like something from W.W. Rusted fenders and canvas top flapping in the wind. No markings, no modern lights, just those dim yellow beams boring into my trailer. The convoy closed the gap, but there was no engine noise, no rumble over my own. I counted them, 8 trucks moving silent as ghosts, tailing me at 55 km/h. I sped up testing, but they matched me, their formation tight, like they were linked. I grabbed the CB mic, keying it. This is Big Blue on 66 near Cuervo. You boys behind me got a copy. Static. No response, just the hiss of empty air. The smell hit me then. Faint at first, like old canvas and gun oil, seeping through the vents, heavy and musty. Why were they so quiet, and what was that smell? I peered closer in the mirror, squinting at the lead truck. The cab was dark, but my taillights caught a glimpse. No driver. Empty seat, wheel turning on its own. My blood ran cold. I checked again. The whole convoy, cab shadowed. No silhouettes, no hands on the wheels. Just trucks, rolling in perfect sync, like they were driven by the wind. I floored it, the rig groaning as I pushed 70, the old road bumping under me. The convoy kept pace for a mile, 2. Then their lights flickered, dimmed, and one by one they vanished. Poof, gone into thin air, like mist burned off by the sun. The road behind me was empty, the desert black and still. My hand shook on the wheel, the canvas and oil smell stronger now, filling the cab like I'd hauled it in. I checked the mirrors, nothing but darkness. But in the side mirror, something caught my eye. A scratch on the glass, deep and fresh, like a claw mark from inside. etched through the frost that hadn't been there before. The cold deepened, my breath visible, though the heater was blasting. How did they disappear, and what scratched my mirror? I drove hard, putting miles between me and Cuervo, the ruins fading in the rearview. The smell lingered, and my CB crackled unprompted, static buzzing like a swarm of bees. A voice, faint, garbled, with a 1940s radio crackle, whispered, "Mike, keep going." My name. My stomach dropped. I hadn't keyed the mic, hadn't said a word. I switched it off, but the static hummed in my head, the voice echoing, "Keep going." I thought of my dad, a Wubby-Y vet who died last year, his stories of convoys in the Pacific, trucks rolling through jungles, some never making it back. Guilt hit me. I'd been too busy on the road to be there when he passed. Was this him or something else? The road opened up, I-40 looming ahead, but the scratch in the mirror seemed deeper, like it was growing. I needed lights, people, anything to shake the feeling. Was that my dad's voice, or something from the convoy? I pulled into a truck stop near Tucumcari, New Mexico. The lot half full with rigs, the diner's neon sign flickering, open 24/7. I parked under the brightest light, my hands still trembling as I stepped out. The air was warmer here, canvas smell fading, but my mirror. The scratch was there, clear as day, like a finger had dragged through the glass. Inside the diner, the smell of grease and coffee grounded me. The waitress, a woman with a name tag reading Rosie, poured me a cup and noticed my face. "You okay, hun? Look like you've seen a ghost convoy." My head snapped up. "What did you say?" She leaned in, voice low. "The phantom convoy near Cuervo. You saw it, didn't you?" She slid a napkin across the counter, a single word scrawled in shaky pen. "Don't." She walked away, her eyes darting to the window, like she expected something to roll in from the dark. How did Rosie know? And what wasn't she telling me? I couldn't sleep that night, parked under the lights, my rig humming. The scratch in the mirror seemed to pulse, and the canvas smell returned, faint, but persistent. I checked my dashcam footage in the morning, heart pounding. The video showed the road, my mirrors catching the convoy. Old military trucks, no drivers, lights dim. Then they vanished, one by one, into nothing. The audio picked up the static, my name, the voice. "Mike, keep going." But, in one frame, frozen, something in the lead truck's cab. A shadow, blurred, in a military cap, gone the next second. I drove on to Albuquerque, delivered the load, but the footage haunted me. A week later, I was at a bar in Santa Rosa, swapping stories with other drivers. I mentioned the convoy, the voice, the scratch. Most laughed, called it desert delirium. But an old-timer, his face like sun-baked clay, didn't. "You saw the phantom convoy," he said. "The lost boys of 45. "What do you know about it?" I asked, my throat dry. He leaned in, eyes distant. 1940s, wartime. A military convoy crashed on that stretch near Cuervo. Bad brakes, fog, who knows? Trucks piled up, soldiers killed, their bodies scattered in the desert. The road was cursed after that, and drivers see them now. Old deuce and a halves, no drivers, tailing you at night. They vanish, but they leave marks. Call your name. Some say they're looking for the way home. Others say they're recruiting for the convoy that never ends. "What do they want?" I said, my voice shaking. He didn't answer, just pointed to a photo on the wall, a faded news clipping from 1945, showing a crash on Route 66 near Cuervo. Twisted trucks, bodies covered in sheets. In the corner, barely visible, was a figure in a military uniform, standing untouched in the wreckage, his eyes glowing white. On the ground beside him, a black leather glove, crusted with frost, though it was July in the desert. Was that the convoy leader, or something the desert claimed? I don't drive Route 66 anymore, not near Cuervo. not at night. I stick to I-40, lit up lanes where the past can't catch up. But they follow me. At night, when I'm parked, I smell it. Canvas and gun oil, heavy and old, seeping into the cab. I hear engines, faint but steady, like trucks tailing me from miles away. Last week I found something under my bunk, a black leather glove, stiff with frost, though it was 95 degrees outside. I burned it in a fire pit, watched it curl and blacken, but the smell didn't go away. Last night I was parked in Oklahoma, miles from New Mexico. My CB crackled, unplugged, and the voice came through, clearer, older. "Mike, join us." I checked the camera feed, my heart pounding, and there they were, the mirrors showing a convoy behind me, old trucks, no drivers, lights dim. In the side mirror, the scratch marks were deeper, fresh lines over the old, like a hand reaching out. Outside, in the dark, I heard it. Engines revving, closing in, then vanishing as I started my rig. I don't know what the phantom convoy is. Ghosts of soldiers, a curse on the road, or something the desert won't let die. I don't know why they chose me, or what they want me to join. But I know they're out there, on Route 66 near Cuervo, rolling silent in the dark, waiting. And I know if I ever drive that stretch again, they'll find me. And this time, they might not vanish. Will I ever escape the phantom convoy on Route 66? If this story gave you chills, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You never know what's coming next.